everyone, to Totally Online Gaming Group. We're glad you guys could join us for our 8th session, if I'm counting right, of Atavar Ascension, our 5th edition D&D campaign, that hopefully soon we will have the studio finished and be doing as a live stream that you guys will be able to see on Twitch and YouTube, and that'll be pretty fun.
You can see all these idiots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
First off, however, I want to apologize if the sound is a little off. We were having some major audio issues that we weren't able to fix, but we wanted to still play and record since we got everyone together, so we've kind of got a backup method. It's not the greatest, but it's something. We're going to do our best to fix the audio and post a little bit. Hopefully it'll clean it up, but we'll just have to wait and see. That out of the way, got to give a shout out to Critical Hit Gaming Supplies, our sponsor. They are an amazing company that has minis, dice trays, dice bags, all sorts of fun, real cool stuff. Go check them out at www.criticalhitgamingsupplies.com. If you go there and you see something you really like, you decide, yep, I'm going to buy that, make sure you use TOGG15, that's TOGG15, at checkout, and you'll get 15% off your purchase. All right, other announcements. Lair D&D is officially live. Of course, by the time you're listening to this, it has been live for a little while, actually. But hope you go and check it out. Hope if you're a professional DM that you've signed up and are now starting to book gigs. And lastly, I don't think everyone was here when I announced this before. I think only Daniel might have caught that. Or Oscar might have been here for this as well. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, reviewing last session, the recording of that cut out like the last half hour or so. So we kind of missed out on what was going on in the last half hour, which was really awesome stuff. So I will recap it here shortly, just to at least get you back into what was happening. All right. Other than that, are there any other announcements that anyone needs to make?
Zach and I do a thing. Nerd culture is dead. Plug over.
Okay. Anybody else? Yo, mama. Okay, guess not. Skinny bottom, did you? All right. So that's it for announcements. So without further ado, we bring you Atavar Ascension. All right, so where we last left off, the party had a task to go out to the farmlands outside of Kyber and meet up with the owners of the Lavare farm and find out what was going on because they had put in a request from the guild to come and help them out. The party finally grabbed that quest, said, yep, we'll go ahead and do this, went out there and met with them, only to find out that over the past about 8 or 9 weeks or so, the family has lost like 70 to 80 cattle. About half of them just straight up missing, the other half found completely torn to shreds. Mm-hmm. Having gone and gotten that information, they began their investigation, starting out in the field where they had talked to the head of the family out there, of the Lavare family, and there is indeed a slaughtered cow and a carcass, which Tomer, using his keen sense of smell, managed to pick out a little bit of a lupine scent. Gold also assisted, and they managed to find tracks, some of what looked like a wolf, and some what looked like a wolf, but bigger. They began tracking those footprints and the scent out into the woods, going for quite a few miles, actually, before eventually coming across a cabin out in the middle of the woods. The cabin had a whole bunch of wood stacked up next to it, cut into usable pieces for firewood. There was also a stump for splitting wood with an axe sticking out of that, and various other accoutrements hanging on the outside of the cabin that would suggest someone who lives in the woods full time and kind of survives out there primarily off the land. So, Tomer and, was it Tomer and Gold or Tomer and Ajax that went to the door?
It was
you two.
Ajax and Tomer, yes.
Decided to go to the door and attempt to just make an introduction, talk to whoever lived in said cabin. Meanwhile, the others kind of watched and hid in the bushes. Specifically, Leon decided his hiding would be invisible and decided to make his way around towards the back to see if there was a back entry. Well, as Ajax and Tomer interacted with the resident of this cabin, they found out he was quite the gruff individual. Not very friendly seeming, and just wanted them off his land. Eventually, they got a little discouraged with the lack of information they were getting from him, and decided to make, alright, fine, and backed away. Back towards their other companions that were kind of hiding on the edge of the bushes of the clearing. At this point, Leon finally got to the back of the building, and Gold also kind of went around to the back to position himself so that he could give covering fire with his bow in case Leon needed it. Leon, stealthy as ever, managed to quietly open the back door and slip inside. And when he got in there, he inspected one room. Seemed to be the room of perhaps a child. Surely not an adult, but relatively unused, at least for some time. He then managed to take a peek in another room, which seemed to be the room of probably the man who had met Ajax and Tomer at the door. And then as he slipped out of that room and looked into the living area, he saw the man sitting in a rocking chair in front of the fireplace, rocking back and forth, talking to a halfling that was sitting across from him in another chair. And he heard a conversation that had him a bit worried. The halfling was describing to the owner of this house that he had not been doing what he was told, and he would not get back his lost one until such things were accomplished. At which point, the man became a bit agitated. Meanwhile, Leon, listening to this conversation and taking a closer look at the halfling, realized that that halfling looked awfully familiar. In fact, I've met that guy not that long ago. But then, the halfling simply said, "Just do your job. But you have company," and looked straight at the invisible Leon as if he could see right through the magic that was keeping him cloaked. He then said, "I'll be off now," and was gone. And the man who was sitting in the rocking chair, still agitated from his conversation, and seeming to have unwanted guests in his abode, roared loudly as he changed shape from that of a simple man into a hulking werewolf.
I'm just preemptively rolling for initiative.
It was like the 20, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he then howls up into the air, a long, loud howl, and that is where we pick up.
I freaking hate halflings, bro.
The rest of the party, Gold is still, you're out back, kind of in position to shoot towards the back door. Ajax, Tomer, and Persephone are on the front side of the building, away from the front door, away from the clearing, kind of hiding in the tree line and the bushes. And, well, we know where you are, Leon.
I missed it. Where was he?
He's gonna get fucked.
At this point, I will need you to roll initiative.
Also, if I recall correctly, he did specifically mention it was his son that he took.
Yes.
You said lost one. I just want to clarify. It was technically his son. Oh, it can't be much worse than mine.
It's a nat one.
Okay, it can. Barely.
What is your roll total? It's only better because of my modifier.
Bro.
Okay, so
we won't be going first.
It's fine. We don't need to go. It's
I
fine.
might.
And let's
Don't worry about
let's
it.
go
We
around,
won't.
Let's go around the table here.
Yeah, the
Gold.
17.
17 for gold. Okay. Persephone.
4?
4. Tomer.
2.
Ajax.
8.
And Leon.
Would a 6 suffice?
Oh no.
Yay.
You got this, right?
You have a plus 5 to initiative? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, bards kind of go hard.
Yeah,
At
bards
everything.
apparently do.
Bards are always on hard.
Okay, so initially,
You fuck me.
initially, you guys you don't hear anything other than this roar and then a howl from inside.
Oh.
But you don't know what's happened other than that.
No, it's fine.
You have a question.
Would I know the roar?
Do the roar.
All of you would know what kind of roar it is because you've heard it issue out of Tomer's throat.
It's a pretty educated
At
guess,
le- yeah,
I would
at least-
say.
At least you can
I'm
assume
invisible.
it sounds very similar.
God damn it, Tomer.
Yeah, it sounds similar. Tomer, you know for sure because, I mean, that's just, okay, yeah, I know what happened.
Uh-oh.
Use magic weapons, use magic weapons!
Now, that being said, at that point in time,
It's nighttime, right?
it is nighttime.
Perfect.
Quit doing that. I just want you to roll the roll. Go to another screen.
Instant death.
No. You're the one in there.
Hey, challenge.
Ooh, that was actually pretty good. I didn't mean
Here,
for
I'm
that.
just going to roll it in my dice and add the modifier. It's easy enough to do that way. Okay.
You're
Do you remember what your last stealth check was?
Something above like a 20-something.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, it was 19 plus my plus 8 to stealth, so 27.
Okay. The werewolf is sniffing around in the air. And he's,
I could be wrong. That's just my best guess.
he's moving around the center of the living room, kind of sampling the air. And you hear him just kind of growling. He's like, he's looking around in the corners and he starts just kind of slowly, methodically walking around the house. He is now coming down the hallway that you are standing in.
Yes.
It's pretty clear he doesn't know exactly where you are. He continues to sniff, and he's kind of feeling around with his outstretched claws as he's trying to say, okay, somebody's around here. I will need another stealth check from you right now to see if you can kind of do something to move out of his way.
Hey, Daniel. Give me a handshake for good luck.
Oh, you're shaking the wrong hand for luck.
That's okay.
Do
I'm gonna roll
that
that
thing.
one.
Do that thing you do in South Park where you
Never
throw
mind.
your
Pretty
heart.
sure.
21 in total.
21.
Pretty
Okay.
sure I can count the number of
Pretty
20s I
good.
rolled this entire game on
You
one
guys real
hand.
close to that one, though. Just
Um,
a quick flip.
yeah, no, actually, you're right.
Okay. Pretty darn good. Unfortunately.
Oh boy.
Bum, bum.
I like the sound of that.
Unfortunately, as he is walking through the hall, he kind of is reaching his claws out and moving them around, trying to see if he can touch anything, because he can't smell anything. He can't see anything. But then one of the claws catches on your sleeve. As you were trying to duck down to the side and away from him, You didn't anticipate his hand coming back around, and his claw catches your sleeve and pulls it. He stops, and he goes, and swings at you. However, he used up the majority of everything he could do just to get that far, so you get one attack against you.
Is he not at disadvantage because he's invisible?
That is true.
Gotcha.
Ooh, that might have helped
You're welcome.
It may have helped.
Possibly.
No.
you. Oh yeah, I don't think an 11 hits
God, no, it doesn't.
It would hit me.
you. Yeah, no, that does not hit you, so you are fortunate in that. But that is the end of his turn. Gold, you're up.
I think my character is anticipating Leon coming outside, so he's just going to prepare a shot fixed at the door.
How many of us know he's inside?
I
To
discussed
me,
it.
that's it.
I don't
Okay.
think that in your recap you made it seem as though I didn't discuss it, but
No,
So that wasn't talked about with any of us?
just with Gold, as far as I know.
Yeah, I'm
Where
pretty
is
sure you guys
Gold
have
in
no
relation
idea.
to us right now?
On the
I
other
think
side of the
I think
promise.
he's
Okay.
friends
So
with everyone
it's
at this
fine.
point in the story.
It's fine, guys. We got it.
Sing with it.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm just... My character wouldn't rush in
Nice.
there, so I'm gonna sit in the tree line with my
Oh,
bow fixed at the door and I'll prepare an attack action,
That's-
trigger being
That's the one.
someone
who
coming
put
outside.
Okay. At the end of your turn, all of you clearly hear, not too far away, but you cannot see. You hear, and you hear it from multiple.
Guys, I really
locations.
didn't want to murder puppies today.
Good thing I'm in stealth.
What all of
Just try to deal
Good
with
thing
Some
that
of us
I'm
are.
wait, no, I'm not stealth at all.
some of us
I'm
are.
gonna show you who the real alpha is.
Light.
Tears
Come here,
off my
bitches.
plate chest.
That's
Will be in his
what you
pajamas.
hear. You don't see anything yet. It is now Ajax's turn.
All right.
You've heard this roar and then a howl, and now you've heard these howls in response. And that's all you know about what's going on.
I've heard enough. I'm gonna go breach the door.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna try to open the door
Freelancers
first.
Association, open up!
We don't need a warrant. We're just going in.
I'm going to go back up to the door. Is it within 30 feet of me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna
You guys-
go up there.
You guys are probably about 25, 30 feet away. That's where the tree line is, in the bushes. But that's, you can get there.
Can I use a bonus action to try the door and then use my main action to kick the
It's
door?
part of your move action.
Okay, cool. Excellent. I'm going to try the door. Is it open?
You try the door, it is locked.
I'm going to attempt to kick the door in.
In fact, I didn't mention it in the recap, but that is something, if I recall right now, after I mentioned you, when he told you to finally get off, and you're like, okay, fine, he slammed the door, and you guys heard it locking behind you.
Well, yeah, but then what's his face? Know me, asshole man came in and I mean, it's fair to assume he locked it again, but like he did come in through the front door afterwards.
Actually, he was a half.
Actually,
He's an asshole either way.
I'm going to attempt to break the door down.
Okay.
Just give it a
Give
nice...
me strength athletics.
I believe you.
That is a 17.
That's the sound of the door breaking.
Crunch.
Crunch. Just going to give it a nice hard front kick. Just...
Okay. You kick this door, and the door itself and the frame around it like shudder as you hit it, and you feel a little bit of a crack, but it doesn't swing open. It's still there, but you definitely did some damage to it.
That's a solid door. All right, well, that's my turn.
Okay. Leon, you are now up.
At first I was afraid. I was petrified. I'm gonna...
Never thought I'd ever die.
to a werewolf guy. Let's see. I'm gonna drop the invisibility. Well, it would drop automatically anyway. To cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter at this ugly mutt. So
Very nice.
it's gonna have to make me a Wisdom 13 saving throw.
Wisdom 13.
Down, boy! Fuck!
15 on the die.
Break your
Sorry.
finger.
Just looks up and says, "Wonderful weather we're having, hey?"
Okay, so that was your action.
Right.
You still have bonus action and movement.
If I was a rogue...
Disengage.
Bonus action. That would have been a great time to have Misty Step. Alright, I'm just going to run... question, do I hear the door that Ajax is trying to break through?
It's pretty loud.
I'm
I'd
sure
say
you hear that.
I'd say you hear something. You heard a
Bang.
thud.
Can I come
But
to a
you
logical
just got
conclusion
claw
here?
right in front of your face. Sure.
He's kicked down plenty
I'll
of
say
doors in
sure.
front of you.
Alright.
I'm sure you know
Yeah,
what
he
that
has.
sounds
I'm
like.
going to
Hitting a door.
pray.
I'm in the bathroom.
I'm going to pray,
No, you're not.
and I'm going to rush towards that door and take the opportunity.
Okay. So he attempts to swing at you.
Sure he does.
I'm pretty sure a 17 hits.
Yes, it does.
As you attempt to run away from him, so he takes a swing at your back, and you feel. Do you wear like a cape or a cloak or something like that?
Unfortunately, it is ruined now, yes.
Yes. As 4 claws out of his hinge kind of go right through. You feel going across your shoulder blades and back, digging a gouge through the cloth and through you. As you take 6 points of slashing damage.
I'm okay.
Eventually.
Alright, so that is its reaction, but you do manage to get away. You now are over next to the front door, which is not super far away. It was all of about maybe 15 feet away from where you guys were.
Yeah, but if I get closer to Ajax, then I know he'll save my ass.
Okay.
Papa.
So that is your
Daddy's
turn.
home.
Persephone, you are up.
Okay, so I'm outside. There are trees.
Mm-hmm.
Are
This
any of
is a
them?
forest.
Do any of them look like I could
Fireworks.
climb them without dying?
Yeah.
Let's do that. I would like to climb a tree and get a nice solid vantage.
Okay, I will need a strength athletics for climbing.
Can it not be an acrobatics?
Yeah, I'll allow that.
Okay, cool. +1
But you have to
instead of
describe
plus-
to me how you're making it acrobatic. How are you
Okay.
attempting to do this
So
gracefully?
I'm a one of you guys is close to me, right?
I'm up by the door.
I'm gonna do that thing. I'm gonna say, "Help me real quick," and in theory, he can do that thing where he holds like his hands out real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna run, jump up onto his hands, leap up, and kind of do like a monkey
Okay.
grab
Okay.
on the branch and,
then
pull
pull
myself up.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
13.
Yep.
Oh,
You managed to do it. However, your total distance that you can go when you're climbing is basically half.
mhm.
So you could get about 15 feet up into a tree.
Okay. As long as I have like a spot where I can perch myself, and I'm not gonna get hit by all the baddies that on the ground.
You figure that's probably...
All right, solid. I will take point there,
Okay.
and bonus action my shadow blades.
All right, good call. You still have an action. That was your movement.
There is nothing to hit, correct?
Not that you can see.
Can
at this time.
I hold an action until something comes into?
You can hold an action. However, if it gets around to your turn again, then whatever the trigger is that you're calling for hasn't happened, you lost that action.
Because I can't see any bad guys.
Currently, no.
All right, I'm gonna use my action to eat some of my chocolate.
Okay. She's sitting up in a tree eating chocolate.
It helps me.
The show's just getting started.
It's like a telenovela.
Yeah. And Tomer, you're up.
Is the door open?
Not yet.
One more solid hit.
I'm gonna
Double up, baby.
try to bash my way through the door.
Okay, give me strength athletics.
I loosened
Fucking
it for you.
charges down Ajax, uses him as a shield to hit the door.
It's
That's
the
metal armor, that
use your
worked.
head thing from Toy Story.
Ajax wouldn't be against a plan like that. That works.
I have
So
advantage
that
on
works.
strength checks. 2 19s.
That ought to do it.
Plus 2.
Very nice, very nice.
Maybe I can get this one.
You didn't have to go.
I think that's a athletics check. Right? Do you have
No, he said strength or athletics.
No, it's strength athletics.
but you rolled 2 19s anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. My athletics.
Either way, you got a 19.
Athletics is
Okay, now what form are you currently in?
not werewolf form yet.
Okay, are you in hybrid form?
That is where we're from.
I'm not.
That's the same.
I'm in my base form as
No,
of right.
no. Well, I mean,
You're human.
you're in base form. Okay.
Well, actually, no, I
Note
guess you're
that-
not human, right? You're an
Note
orc.
that some of those things that you have advantage on are when you are in hybrid.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That actually makes sense.
But with that roll, you charge towards the door and towards where Ajax is. Ajax, you all of a sudden, as you're about ready to haul off on another kick, you get plowed into from behind, and your foot goes forward as it was just in the air for another kick. And Tomer basically uses you like a battering ram.
You have Play-Doh.
You
Engage
slam,
thrusters.
you slam through the door, it busts off the hinge, and is now like kind of swung open and half, broken off. And you see pretty much right there in front of you is Leon, and about 15 feet away is a werewolf.
Oh, would you look at that?
Ah,
My wolf
That
has
was your movement,
arrived.
sir.
Bonus action. Transform.
Let's see what this
Still have an
guy's.
action.
I'm gonna see what this guy's made of. Oh, I got an action. Oh, you bet.
Tomer, I choose you.
You know what?
Tomer.
Nah, I feel like you were raspy. Like
Tomer.
Kill me.
exactly.
I'm gonna witch bolt. No, firebolt. My bad. What am I saying?
Wishbowl. I was a bit like, damn, that's awesome. I didn't know you had that.
Firebolt.
Firebolt?
I wish you had Wishbowl. That would be really cool.
that's why you took spell thing as your.
Lightning wolf. Hey, she got me covered though. She got Wishbowl.
That don't hit.
No.
6 doesn't hit.
No,
Yeah.
that definitely doesn't.
I mean, it could on a good day.
So you unleash this bolt of fire from your clawed hands as you like mid-transformation. And you haven't tried this before, so you're just not quite used to it yet. And as you do it, you kind of go like, eh, and it goes up and slams into the ceiling. And you see some of the wood get scorched and everything. It's not enough to catch on fire, but you've scorched some of the wood. And you hear the other wolf. He just kind of looks up at that, looks at you, and goes, "You damaged my home!"
You damaged my friend.
And he charges straight towards you.
All right, bring it on.
And
Gay werewolf
Man.
wrestling.
It's so good to be a witchery right now.
Mud pit.
okay, a dirty 20, and I'm pretty sure it hits you.
That's fine.
The natural 20 definitely hits you.
Son of
Ooh. I think you have that
I take half damage on
damage
it.
reduction.
Yeah.
Oh, but that doesn't work on crits, does it?
Let's go.
I don't
So
think that
you're-
works
If
on
it's
natural 20s.
piercing, slashing, or anything like damage, I take half no matter what.
So you are fortunate in the fact that the bite was just the dirty 20. So you took 7 points of piercing damage from that bite.
Is that halved or no?
No, half would be 3.
Okay.
but I do need a DC 12 con save, or scarily enough, you'll be cursed with lycanthropy. I don't know if you can make it.
Wow.
Can he purposely fail?
Oh, that would be sick.
Double lycanthropy.
Does that make me an alpha?
I'll become a werewolf too.
I'm a werewolf.
A constitution
Beware.
saving
Well, there's a difference in werewolf disease. There's werewolf lycanthropy via bite like this, and the kind of lycanthropy that Tomer has.
The big difference, one is an STD, the other's a tumor.
Basically.
So that's a 5.
Oh no, you're cursed with lycanthropy.
That was already in my bloodstream.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. So for you, it's not, I'm going to say it has no effect at all. But what you guys may or may I'll go ahead and say it. Why not? But lycanthropy from a bite. Basically, the difference is you're not going to be able to control your shift. You're going to have to.
Oh, I assume
it's a true-on curse.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a
Until
solid
you have,
guess.
until you have removed curse or something else.
The claws, however, nat
That's
20
still
on
cool.
those.
Oh.
So that was.
Dear God.
So 9 slashing reduced to 4. So, whoop-de-doo.
I'm still fine.
Yeah, a total of 7 damage for that attack.
Oh, it's
For
fucking
both things.
on.
But that is his turn. Gold, you're up. You hear a bunch of scuffling in the house. You still do not see anything outside.
Alright. Or how much distance is between me and the door?
In order for you to be able to actually see the door, due to the terrain, I would say you're probably within 30 feet.
Okay.
There's
Because
lots of
this is
trees.
my chosen terrain, I don't have any kind of movement penalties here. So I'm just going to use 30 of my movement to get to the door and open it.
Okay.
And with my 5 extra movement, can I get inside and get line of sight?
Yes, you see, as you just hop inside the door, you see, oh look, I see the back of a werewolf facing the front of another werewolf. And there's a Tomer, and there's a Leon. And, oh shit, it almost looks like a dog pile because they're all right there on top of each other practically.
Alright. I'm going to go ahead and fire a planar arrow.
Dogfight.
That's a 14 hit.
A 14 to hit. Yeah, that hits.
Oh, cool. I figured it wasn't. I like that. There's my damage. That is 13 force damage.
13 force damage. Good to know. I forgot to cast a spell. Okay. So, ouchie, he says. And, yes, ouchie. He says exactly like that.
Ouchie.
Ouchie.
You done put an arrow in me.
Okay, so that is your movement and your action.
And bonus.
And bonus, yep.
And
All right,
bonus.
now, outside, you guys hear that howling is now much closer, and then bursting forth from the bushes. Persephone, you are the only one outside. You would see
Tree climb.
a larger, like very large-looking wolf. You assume, based on the conversations you've had as to things, that that's that dire wolf that was mentioned. And 4 other wolves seem to kind of come from all directions
regular
around.
ass wolves.
Yeah, regular ass wolves, which are still
No, yeah,
Wolves are
four
fucking
wolves
huge.
and
They're
a
still
dire
ass
wolf.
wolves,
Yeah.
but they're regular
they're
ass
regular
wolves.
ass
Yeah.
wolves. But they come from pretty much kind of all directions, and they make a beeline straight for this cabin that now has a busted open front door and a back door which you never said you
Fucking
shut.
clown car
Yeah, I
into
know.
the cabin.
Daniel,
So
I'm kind of confused here. How would they make a beeline if they're wolves?
It's a wolf line.
Smack you. So hard.
Look, it's my job, okay?
Punish me, DM. Punish me.
So, thankfully, due
It's
to
funny because he's his dad.
yes, thankfully due to the kind of bottlenecking of the doorways, they can't all get in there at once and fight. However,
I'm just gonna hold the
As-
line at the door.
as Tomer had stepped up, right now, for you three, it is basically your ass is kind of right there at the door. Leon, you are right in front of Ajax, and then Tomer had stepped in front of you to intercept Senor Werewolf,
Oh, senor.
and now Gold is, about 15, 20 feet away because he just got in the door at the end of the hall. And one of the wolves goes after you as it comes up through the door and leaps at you.
Got my studded leather armor now. I'm impervious to damage.
Nat 20.
Damn it! Armor, what good are you? I will go naked from now on.
And there is one right behind it. This one comes up and it attempts to bite you.
They're in queue. For me to slaughter them.
Who's getting bitten right now?
There
Zach.
you go. Gold is. An 18.
That hits.
Studded leather armor.
Studded leather armor.
It's the new fad.
Guys, what the fuck's armor?
Wow.
You wouldn't understand.
You'd be more likely to say what the
20
fuck's
damage.
clothes.
Minimum damage.
Ah,
I
okay.
rolled ones. So you take 4 points of piercing
Oh, I
damage.
thought you said 20 was the minimum damage. I was like, holy
No,
shit.
minimum damage.
These really are assholes.
4 points. But I will need you to make a strength saving throw. As this wolf basically kind of leaps at you and bites. You take the teeth kind of rake along your arm as it attempts to grab you.
That's an 18.
And it tries to use its weight to pull you to the ground, but you manage to shake free and continue to be standing. On the other side,
Oh, no.
the big wolf, the dire wolf,
Daddy wolf.
If it was a liver wolf, it's a big trouble.
My man's just reaching right now.
I'm so sorry. That's all I can do to stay awake.
it
Be merciful.
it charges straight towards you, and it attempts to bite you with a 22.
That hits. But he's going to pay for it real soon.
Okay. So, man, I'm rolling crap for damage. 7 points of piercing damage, and I do need you to make a strength saving throw.
Alright, and don't let me forget before the end of this, I am using Wrath of the Storm, because I will forget, probably,
Okay.
as a
I will probably
reaction.
forget, but
Alright, so what am I...
7 damage and then a strength saving throw.
7 damage. And a strength save.
That one.
19.
Oh! That is a 22.
too high. Way too high.
Hold it.
You just took my good swing, my good dice for
Yeah.
my next hit.
So yeah, you managed to fend it off, even with the increased weight and size of this thing. It cannot seem to maintain a grip on you and drag you to the ground. So that is its turn.
Yeah, that's right. The
Wrath of
reaction.
the Storm.
Yep. 2d8 with a 14 dex. Hang on, let me verify that. To navigate on here. 14 dex save. 2d8 half on a success.
That is a fail.
Alright, so 2d8. Is that that one?
Yes. That's a 7.
7 and 4. 11
Nice.
lightning damage.
As the reason it can't knock you to the ground is because as it bites onto you, lightning shoots forth
Got fucking
From-
tased.
from where it hit and shocks it and kind of throws it back a little bit. Surprising.
Throws it back, you say?
The
God damn it.
the other 3 wolves seem to have kind of like gathered around as close as they can to the doorways, but they cannot quite get to you guys. And
That
that
was too
is
soon.
their turn. Now it is your turn, Ajax.
All right, I'm going to reach out and touch someone. This wolf is going to get a level 1 inflict wounds.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Let's see. I'm angry about what he just did. He bit me.
Oh, he bit me.
So I'm going to... sorry, I'm still navigating. I got lost off of my spells page. Here we are. Inflict wounds, that is 3d8 spell attack, so...
You roll your d20. And then add your spell modifier to it.
No, that doesn't hit. Unless, of course, an 8 hits.
No, an 8 does not hit as you attempt to reach out for it, but after being shocked, it seems a bit wary and it kind of hops back a bit and just out of reach of that attack.
Alright, and then I'm going to stay in the doorway so nothing can
Okay.
easily get past.
All right. So, Leon, it is your turn.
All right, so I'm going to use my help action on Tomer
Okay.
/ on the werewolf, however you want to roll that.
Which roll?
The one that's not his friend.
Oh,
Yeah.
so the one that's not his friend. So you're going to help the one that's not his friend. Okay.
I'm gonna give this boy Tomer advantage on his next attack.
Okay.
Description wise, Leon searches the floor for a loose floorboard, sort of kicks at it, and makes the werewolf that we're fighting stumble a little bit as the floorboard beneath it sort of lifts its foot up and throws him off balance.
Throws him off balance a little bit. Okay.
So that's my action. And then as my bonus action, I already marked it off on my sheet. I'm going to Healing Word Tomer because I know he hasn't taken a lot of damage, but literally if I roll max, then it would be the exact amount of damage he took so far. So that would be nice. I rolled max. You get your 7 HP back, Tomer. Stay in the fight, champ.
Oh, I'm back to max health.
All right, that is your turn. Persephone, you are up. You see in front of you, because where you're at, you're seeing the front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
You see the direwolf, and 2 of the other wolves are right there, kind of round the door, where Ajax is kind of standing in the doorway.
Alrighty. Assuming I understand how spells work, Hex is a bonus action. So I'm a Hex Mr. Direwolf,
Okay.
and then I'm going to attack with my Shadow Blade, also Mr. Direwolf.
I think you can only do 1 spell per turn.
Well, it's
Cast
a
the-
bonus action and a action. And Shadow Blade is just a bonus action to make it appear, and I had him appear last turn as an attack action now.
Yeah.
Let's
So-
assuming that I have that correct.
I'm looking just to make sure.
See, I thought it was a 1 spell per turn, no matter.
Well, she had already cast
the Shadow Blade
Mhm.
spell.
I cast Shadow
She
Blade
cast
last
that
turn.
last turn.
She's
Okay.
using an attack action to throw the sword.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I gotcha.
So, and
Okay,
the
that
other,
makes
you were
sense.
doing the Shadow Blade, and you were doing Hex.
Yes, assuming that I can do that. That
This
is
is
my
my turn.
plan.
Could've been
Let me
way more
double-check.
lucrative.
Where's your Shadow Blade? That is a feature, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there is one problem with that.
Uh-huh.
Those are both concentration spells. You can only
Okay.
have 1 concentration spell.
Okay, well then fuck Hex.
Effects.
Otherwise,
if you will.
I'm wasting my level 2 spell for nothing. That's why I wanted to clarify. I was like, I wasn't sure how that works.
Yeah, 1 concentration spell at a time.
Okay.
That's their way of preventing people from
Well,
being OP.
what spells aren't concentration spells?
You just happen to pick a
Oh.
lot of concentration spells.
Oh, I just...
Chromatic
so
Orb,
chaos-
Good ones are
Yeah, and
concentration.
Chaos spells is not... Okay.
Usually,
I was like, then why bother with Hex?
Yeah,
But no,
usually,
that
like,
makes sense.
instant damage
Yeah.
spells
No,
are-
I gotcha. Okay. So ignoring that, we're just gonna Shadow Blade the motherfucker.
okay.
And I get advantage because I'm in dim light.
Yeah.
Eh.
Actually, this would not be nighttime.
You said it was nighttime.
I know,
I
I was
specifically requested.
I was just clarifying because I'm thinking about that. Because you guys investigated over at the farm, and it was before lunchtime. You only went about 4 or 5 miles.
Well, you said
did-
we were there for.
You
hot
specifically
minute.
mentioned at one point that
I thought it
we
was
wanted
trying to remember,
turn
it's hard
back
because-
before dark or
Uh-huh.
camp in the woods, and we decided to keep
Okay,
moving
yeah,
forward.
okay.
Yeah.
It was
You're right.
nighttime, if I
Again,
remember.
because we didn't have, we lost that last bit of recording.
Yeah, it was
I was
like
able to review and
I
and refresh.
specifically remember dark
Okay.
time. That was
Okay,
why I
fair
did
enough.
this.
I just wanted to,
Yeah.
you know,
No, I
raise
gotcha.
the question,
Mhm.
basically.
So 18 to hit Mr. Direwolf.
Again, that's way too high, so yeah, that hits.
Okay, cool. I don't get my hex. 'Cause that didn't work, but I will take this. Is there a plus? No, it's just this. Okay. 9 psychic damage.
9 damage, very nice.
And then the sword, dagger, whatever, dissipates, and I bonus action it back.
Okay. Excellent. Alright. It is now Tomer's turn.
Okay. I already thought about this since he gave me advantage. Bonus action. Blood curse marked on him.
Okay.
Swing at the sword.
Okay. So you're not using your claws, you're using your sword. Okay.
Yeah, because it's the Moon Touch sword which does magic damage. 18 to hit.
That will hit.
Are your claws not considered
Oh wait,
magic?
no, I get advantage. No, my claws are not magic. Unless I infuse them with Blood Maledict, which I can, but I didn't choose to, because that hurts me.
Any of us have enough knowledge on werewolves to know
Yeah,
that magic.
that one,
What is
probably.
giving you advantage on your
different types.
He
Blood
gave
Maledict?
Logan.
Oh, that's right. He gave you the help action.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
thought
just double check it.
I'm just checking if I was going to crit or not.
Yep.
So 2d6 plus one more d4 for lightning damage. Four normal damage and 2 lightning damage.
Okay. So 4 normal, 2 lightning.
No, well, magic damage because of the sword.
Okay, yeah, you have to switch that.
Yeah, so 4 magic
So
damage.
6 damage in total.
Yeah, and it's all going through non-halved or anything like that.
Also, just
Well, as
because
far
you
as
are a
you-
werewolf doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean you understand 100% of your
No,
strengths and
I just
weaknesses.
assumed that
Well,
was
I
the only
was-
knowledge you
I
had.
was taught it by my master.
Taking an educated guess this year.
I learned it in training. I learned it in werewolf school. Okay?
I don't know
You hit him and
shit.
dealt 6 damage?
All my stuff
Where-
is magic.
where-
I was going to
Damage
crit,
is
but I got
worse.
at least a hit with an 18.
Nice.
Werewolf damage is something to be very, very werewolf school.
What I learned in werewolf school is
Funny you should wear the villager's shirt
I
today.
know.
how appropriate.
Alright, so it is now his turn.
Cool. Pick you.
Mr. Werewolf.
Tombstone you.
Okay. What is your AC again?
16.
Okay. So that's a hit, but he is not attacking. He is attempting to grapple, so I need strength athletics from you.
Oh, and I get
You might as well just roll. Both of us roll 1 because we both have advantage.
Hold on, I'm using,
Cancels out.
I'm using my werewolf dice. 19 plus 2. No, 19 plus, hold on. Yeah, 19 plus 2. 21.
Okay. He attempted to grapple you, and it did not work.
Get off me, pipsqueak.
However, he does get his second. And a 17 should hit.
Yep, 1 above my AC.
But that is only the claws. So it's not going to be too terribly bad unless I roll really high, which I didn't roll too bad that time. That's actually 9 points, so slashing reduced to half. So
Got it. I'm still fine.
and it is now Gold's turn.
I'm going to use half of my movement to toss my bow to the side and draw my short sword.
Okay.
And bonus action, I'm going to infuse my sword with my planar magic and drive the sword down into the wolf's back.
Okay.
Is this still the dire wolf?
No, he is on a regular one.
He's on a normal wolf. He's on a pup.
That is a 16 to hit.
That will hit.
That is 12 force damage.
Wow, as you absolutely spear this creature right through the spine, you hear this yelp. and it just like kind of collapses to the ground. You hear it whimper for a little bit. And it stops moving.
For my free action, I'm going to take my sword out and point it to the next wolf.
Doesn't understand the implication.
Doesn't realize how fucked he is. That was low damage, boy.
So now,
So real quick, just to help paint the picture in my head, the wolves that are in front of me are a wolf. Is it just the dire wolf, or is there like...
Oh, no, there are two others.
Several wolves behind him trying to get past their big boy?
There are two others.
Okay, I got you.
But they are small. They're like regular...
Yeah. They're regular ass wolves.
Regular ass wolves.
I can handle normal ass wolves.
Yeah. No, regular ass, not normal ass. Normal ass is different than regular ass.
Oh, no.
There are many different classifications.
Classes of ass are very...
Don't even get me started with the Donkadonk.
Yeah, that's...
Too powerful.
Or the Jahoob wolves.
That's what he's fighting right now.
They have great fields of land.
That's a cursed word, Oscar. We cannot say that here on local TV.
And of course, there's the absolute dump truck wolves. Okay.
They couldn't fit through the door.
Is that what Oscar's fighting?
Yes. No, so what happens is, as you can kind of see down the hallway, you hear Gold just absolutely spears one wolf. As you take that brief glance to look, the direwolf and the other two push through you, which you can do, but and it doesn't occur an attack of opportunity unless they leave your threatened squares.
Which they're not.
Which they're not. But it does cost them basically all their movement. So now you're just a pile of you. Ajax and Tomer, Leon, the werewolf, a direwolf, and two wolves. You're all basically just the squares right around it.
Big cuddle
It's
fest.
a fucking mix.
If y'all were friends, it'd be a little sketch.
Yeah.
It's not gay if it's with the homies.
Or if the socks are
My
Or a
socks
pack of
are
wild
on.
wolves.
So,
my socks.
Oh dear
So
God,
now-
Zach!
the direwolf
He gods.
goes ahead and attempts to attack you.
Takes a
Once
chomp.
again. And that will be a dirty 20.
Fuck.
Yeah, just had to open your mouth.
As it bites you for 11 points of piercing damage,
Fuck.
and I need a strength save.
I'm using Wrath of the Storm again, I guess.
Okay.
Holy shit. Alright, first things first. Let me take that 11.
That's the end of part 1 for this episode. Tune in for part 2 next week.